And a lot of people
Right.
think like they're going to start a podcast and all of a sudden like it's going to have this massive like audience size. And that's just really not the case for podcasting. Like it's a slower burn, I feel like, and a lot of people don't realize that. But if you really work on getting your show SEO optimized and things like that, you can grow quicker for sure.
If you've been feeling like you're doing this alone, I want you to know you don't have to. The Monetizing Mompreneur Society is a space for women like you who are building their business in this season of life, who want clarity, support, and the strategy that actually works. We have weekly coaching calls, content guidance, and real opportunities to grow your visibility and email list. Come join us at lindamendable.com. I would love to see you inside.
Mompreneurs, it's not business, baby. It's business and babies. Whether you're rocking the carpool line, building your business during nap time, or dreaming big after bedtime, we've got the tools, tips, and strategies to help you grow your business. Grab a snack, your headphones, and enjoy this time with us, because mom life and boss life deserve balance.
Jenny, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm super stoked to be here today.
I'm honestly really excited. I have amazing energy. So tell us how you got started in your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so this year actually marks 10 years since I've been in the online space. I started as like a virtual assistant, as many of us do. And then I kind of discovered some different paths that I enjoyed. I did a lot of podcasting. I still do podcasting as a service, like podcast management and stuff like that. But over the past couple years, I've also leaned into mentoring moms to help them start their businesses and make sure that they're sustainable. Because as moms, we don't have 40 plus hours a week. We're lucky if you have 20 hours a week most weeks. So that is something that I kind of over the past couple of years have gone on like a mission to help moms create businesses that are actually sustainable. They're not feeling like they're working 24/7 and not moving the needle forward. And yeah, so I have been on a mission to help moms do that. And it's been really fun because, ever since having my kids, I've only ever worked 20 hours a week, sometimes 25 on, a week that I have a lot going on, but I don't have the time to exceed that most weeks, nor do I want to. I mean, I have different priorities now. So being able to keep it in that 20-hour week container has been really important to me. And I think a lot of moms are in that same boat. They only have, a certain amount of time per week that they can dedicate. So every hour counts. So I've been, over the past couple of years looking for ways to make everything more sustainable. And thank God AI has come out too over the past couple of years too to help us do that. And there's been a lot of tasks that I either completely got rid of or I've been able to outsource in, to different tools and different automations and things like that. I'm happy that we're we're in 2026 and we have these amazing tools at our fingertips. I kind of feel bad for people who had businesses in the past and they didn't have the luxury of having those tools to assist them and make their lives easier.
Yeah, I know. We were just talking about like Claude. Is it worth the hype? Now I'm just thinking of ways of like, I need to get on Claude, especially with all the things that you shared about its skill set and also, okay, give us a rundown a little bit of kind of like if someone's switching over from Chat GPT to Claude, what's the difference? What do you find very helpful?
Yeah, I mean, I am not gonna say that I'm an AI expert by any means, but I have been using it a lot in my business, especially over the past year or so, maybe year and a half, just to assist me because, like I said, I only have 20 hours a week and I need to make every single hour count. So I had been using chat for the most part until about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I started really moving pretty much everything to Claude. I still do some things in chat, but and I wasn't just like hopping on the bandwagon because of, certain reasons. I just was curious. I was like, let's try this out and see how it works. Because I had seen some like different features. But I mean, honestly, you can kind of like use whatever you feel comfortable with. You don't have to like hop on the bandwagon, move to another tool just because everyone's raving about it. But there are some pretty cool features like you can have it access your desktop. It's called Claude Cowork. So it accesses your desktop. You can clean out your desktop with it. It can access different things. It can connect to different tools. Like you can have it go in Canva and create a presentation for you. You can have it create like a Google spreadsheet. It can update your Airtable and things like that. And that kind of eliminates the need for like Zapier in some situations, which is pretty cool. And I do like that feature. You can get through things pretty quickly if you're like constantly using the cowork feature because you run through your tokens and whatnot. Whereas like on chat, I feel like I've never really hit a limit on my paid plan from chat because I use it, but I don't use it like to that point. Whereas cowork, I've hit my limits before. Same with like the chat and Claude. The way they run is a little different, but you can also code websites and different situations. I made like a quiz the other day, which was really cool. And it connects like to my email marketing platform and sends people results there. And all I had to do was like upload the questions that I wanted. And then I just like figured out this ranking and scoring. And then it adds like custom fields. So I know like, oh, this person got a, 92 of 100 or something. And this is the result they're getting. And then they're getting sent like the proper sequences and stuff based on the result. So yeah, it's just been really fun playing around with it. And I feel like it saved me a lot of time. Like I'm, thinking back in the past when I would take time to like rearrange my desktop or my downloads folders.
Right. I mean,
That
just because
takes
of that,
time.
I'm going to go into it because like, like, do you think, Claude?
Yeah, honestly, that takes time. And like, it was like smarter than I expected too. Like it sorted things like really well since my main business, aside from the coaching, I do podcast management, podcast launching, things like that. So I have a lot of other clients like podcast episodes on my computer and I would just name them like MMM or PFM or whatever, like they were episode, whatever. And it didn't just put all the audio files in a folder. It actually said like PFM. Each one had its own folder and it didn't know they were podcast episodes, but it knew that like, oh, they all have the same naming conventions. They should all go into a similar folder or whatever. So that was really cool too.
Wow.
I didn't have to be like, oh, this is all just like audio files. Great. Now I have to sort it further. So yeah, it was pretty smart in that way. I did it for both my desktop and my downloads folder, which were both atrocious because I hadn't cleaned them in probably a year.
Yeah, I want to get it into my Google Drive. Is that possible?
I don't know. I haven't tried that, but I need to clean out my Google Drive too. So that is something, yeah, I would like to test out and see if it can do that because it does connect to Drive. So I'm sure it can do that. It has a bunch of different connections.
Features. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
no, I think if we don't get on like learning these tools, we're definitely going to be left behind in
right. And like, why wouldn't you do something that adds, more time back to your day, right? Like, why wouldn't you let a tool handle that if it can, right? Because we don't have tons of additional time. And a lot of the time we're spending doing these things that they need to get done, but it doesn't necessarily need to be done by you. It's a manual busy task, right? Like things that I do every single week, like I update my Airtable stats with like, how much I made, how many, new followers I got on platforms and things like that, how my website stats, all that stuff. If you can find out a way to like have that update on your behalf, which I'm pretty sure you can. I haven't really played around with that too much, but that would be so nice. Then you can just check it after the fact. Because I think for me, the reason I was holding on to it, I was like, well, I need to see these numbers. And I feel like I'm not going to actually check it if like something else does it for me. But honestly, like it would take me 5 minutes to like check it out, be like, okay, cool. This is how this week went and then move on versus like spending like 20 minutes updating them, each week.
You know what? I think Claude is kind of like an upgrade from Chat GPT, just because there has been some things I wanted to do with Chat and it just could not do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've tried doing like images and stuff. Like it does pretty good with like, if you have a person in the image, it can like do pretty good there. But I've tried having it create graphics before and it's just ugly. I'm like, what is this? Or it misspells words really frequently. Like it just like, it's, I don't know, you can see like, you're like, oh, that's not correct. And you have to keep like prompting it and stuff to like fix it.
Yeah. Yes.
And
like all the way from the beginning because the prompts, it just went the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like, yeah, in those kinds of situations, like it wasn't great there. I mean, like I said, I still use it for some things. And I think it's good for like personal things. Like, if you're trying to like, these are the ingredients I have in my fridge, help me figure out like what I can make based on what I have in my fridge, like personal tasks and things like that. Chat is still pretty good in that way. And yeah, and then the only thing like Claude doesn't have yet technically is it doesn't have like custom GPTs. Like it doesn't have that.
Those are good.
But
Custom
but this
GPTs are pretty good.
but your skills that you're setting up, they're similar. You just can't really you can't share them like you can't just share a link. The way that you can share a skill is like it's like a little zip file basically, and then the person can upload the zip file, but it's not like they just get the link and it gets added to their account like
That's
chat.
not bad though. Zip files,
It's not
people
horrible.
download.
It's a workaround. It's not horrible, but it's just a little different. Like, sometimes people even something like that is a hang up for some people because they're like, oh, it's not a link. They're like, how do I upload this? It's just a little bit more
Right.
like it's a little more involved, but it's not difficult. But
I
yeah,
mean, you won me over with cleaning up the desktop and like,
I know because that
sign
takes
me
so
up.
long. I know. I get to a point sometimes where it's like, oh, I don't have any more storage on my computer because I have so much crap, and I'm like,
That's where I'm at. That is
yeah.
where I'm at.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
that would have made my life easier, so much easier like 2 years ago when like I had so many files on my computer that I was like, no, you don't have any more storage, girl. Like you gotta, and then I spent like hours deleting stuff.
Right. Because I was thinking of just buying a new laptop because my laptop ran out of storage. And I hate going through files and deleting stuff.
Right? You're
I
like,
might need that. I'm a hoarder in files.
me too. I'm like, I might need this sometime. This is a screenshot from like 2020. I might need it. So let me keep it. And it's like, I screenshot it and never looked at it again, but I think I might. So I keep it. Yeah.
Right.
So I get it. But yeah, there's a lot of cool features. And I think, being able to save time is like such a big deal. And like
top priority for us, moms.
I know. And I know a lot of people have concerns about like ethics and stuff, but it seems like Claude is the more ethical one when it comes down to it. I mean, obviously it's still, if the water usage is still the same and stuff like that. I don't know how much water you use.
Girl, I haven't even gone that deep.
I haven't either because I don't want to know.
We drive
It's like,
cars.
I know. I'm like, ignorance is bliss, but like, but yeah. I don't know. But I mean, for me, it saves time. It helps me a lot. And, I, especially like as someone who's primarily a solo business owner, like I need all the help I can get. And like, if you do have people on your team, like you can train your Claude to where you can have them like ask Claude because it knows you and your stuff so well. It can be like, hey, ask it this question. And if it doesn't know, then they can come to you. So it can save time too, that you're constantly not having to be like briefing your team members on things that it already knows kind of thing too.
Yeah. No, one of the things that I always tell my clients is like, automate as much as you can and use the tools available to you as much as you can before you have that first hire. Because there's a lot of things that you want to, because you don't want to throw money to the problem.
Yeah. And if you're spending like 20 hours, $20 a month, like you would be on chat or Claude, obviously $20 a month is not as expensive as you're going to pay a person to do similar things. And they're definitely going to take longer than, the tool would take. And it's going to be more expensive.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with hiring team members, but I feel like a lot of people do that first before they get, before they maximize automations or anything else. They're just like, oh, let me just hire a person when they could.
Yeah, and they'll know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
when outsource the AI first. Yeah, and then once you have your systems really down and you are still struggling and you feel like you need hands to do something, then you can hire on a person, because I feel like a lot of people just bring on an actual human to do things, and then they're bleeding money because they didn't really have the budget to hire this person yet,
Right.
because their systems were still kind of in disarray.
Right. So tell us a little bit about like how you help women with growing their business through podcasting. Is that what you help them with, is like growing your business through?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing the podcasting thing since 2019. So it's been almost most of my business journey, really. I mean, I started in 2016 and then 2018, 2019, pivoted to the podcast side of things. And that's still my bread and butter. That's still my favorite thing that I do. And yeah, I help, with the production side of things. And over the past couple of years, I've been leaning into podcast SEO and the growth strategy side of things too. So helping people uh, get in front of more people through SEO, through different growth strategies like podcast guesting and things like that. So that's been really fun. I love helping moms, especially, get their voices out into the world, because I feel like the world needs more mom podcasts. It needs less bro podcasts, more mom podcasts, or even women podcasts, not just moms, but female voices out there. And
Yeah,
yeah,
you need
so
conversations,
yeah,
you got a niche and
exactly.
you want to talk about it, do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that has been, really important to me. And then the coaching thing came in just because I love working with moms, and I've been a service provider for 10 years now. And I feel like it can be difficult because most service providers, they build a business and then they outgrow, they get to the point where they're like, oh, I can't take on any more clients, but like my income is still not where I want it to be. So I kind of help them like create a really streamlined business so that they can actually, you know, bring on more clients, or maybe open a group coaching container and still work with one-on-one clients, um, and different things, and use automations and different things like that to so that they can potentially take on more one-on-one clients, because, maybe their systems are just not where they need to be to they could have more clients, but they just, their systems are just kind of a little disorganized, and maybe they don't have systems at all and things like that. So, but yeah, the podcasting side has always been my baby. So I love that side of things, but I don't know. I'm very multi-passionate, so I like to give myself different avenues where I can um do things, because I think sometimes it gets kind of boring if you're doing the same thing for like years and years and years and years. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on how much, because it's almost like art, right? Like what we do is almost like an art form. And so, and when we take it like that, what it doesn't become boring, I feel like, because you're like, I'm mastering my art. I'm making this better. So you did fill out our form, which we
Mhm,
have every guest of ours fill out a form. And you described that you help moms building business in 20 hours or less.
mhm.
Was that always your goal, or did you stumble on
Yeah.
that? Like, how does that
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah, so once I had my first child back in 2020, before I had kids, I started my business before I had kids. So that's a lot different when you start a business after having kids, because you don't have the time. When you start a business post kids, like, you already don't have a lot of time. So you kind of just like make that work. For me, it was kind of like a cultural shock to my life. I was like, oh my God, now I have this kid, and I was working all these hours because I could. Now I can't do that. And I started tracking my time to kind of see where I was, you know, spending a lot of time, where I wasn't spending a lot of time. I did that for like a month or so. I still do it now, but I did like a kind of heavy audit for like a month to kind of see where I was spending time, where I could be spending less time, where I could be spending more time, things like that. And I found like 20 hours was kind of my sweet spot. Like, every week I could fit in 20 hours somewhere in the week. Like, it may not always be Monday through Friday, it may be on a Saturday or Sunday too, but I could always fit in 20 hours. So that became like my thing. And like 20 hours is doable for most people if you have, kids that are in elementary school or anything, after that, and you're working from home, you don't have, an external job or anything like that. 20 hours was doable for most people. It can even be 15 hours, whatever that is. Essentially, I just wanted to indicate part-time hours with that 20-hour work week situation. Um, and yeah, so that's where that kind of came from. And um, yeah, and 20 hours doesn't sound like a lot, but man, I feel like I get so much more done in 20 hours than I did in my previous time pre-children, where I was working 40 plus hours because I could. And I feel like with that, you have such a better filter on like, should I be doing this? No. Okay, you stop doing it. Whereas but like if you don't have kids, or, pre-kids, you just do it because you're like, oh, I have the time to do it. Why not? Whereas me now, it's like I have such a better filter. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm not gonna do it. It's not important. I can find something else. Like, if it is important, I can find a tool that can help me do it for the most part. Or, I can not do it for this time period because it's not important. Like it might need to get done at some point, but it's not like urgent or things like that. So just kind of figuring out like what it actually needed to get done, what task moved the needle in my business. Um, that was a really big thing for me. Just figuring out like what actually needs to get done every single week because I feel like I was doing so many things that just did not need to get done. And I felt busy and I was busy, but I wasn't productive, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And it's when like for me, I like to do like 3-hour sprints is what I call them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I know that if I just focus, because sometimes in the beginning of starting a task, it takes me a few minutes to actually get
Like get
into it.
going. Yeah.
Right. To get going. And I notice like my sweet spot is like 3 hour, like if I block off a 3-hour time block, I can get that so much done
Yeah.
versus if it's just 1 hour,
Hmm.
right,
Hmm.
for a particular thing. So I totally get that because when we limit our hours, okay, I only have XYZ hours to get this
Hmm.
done. What are important? What are the items that are important? And what are the
Hmm.
items that need to just go?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly, exactly. And like even going back to the AI conversation, like a lot of the time, if I have like a lot that I feel like I need to get done, I'll just like voice note with chat or whatever tool, and I'll say like, hey, this is what I absolutely need to get done this week. These are other things I would like to get done. Can you please help me plan this? And, be conscious that I'm only wanting to work 20 hours a week. And it'll help me kind of like figure out like where things fit in. And then I also mentioned like, oh, I have this meeting and that meeting that can't be moved and things like that. And that can be helpful too. It's because sometimes like I feel like people just sit there and they're so consumed with like what is on their to-do list that they don't end up doing it because they're like, wait, when can I fit in this and when can I fit in that? Then are sitting like staring at a blank page because they don't know where to begin. So that's another way to like, kind of like use a tool like AI to kind of help you get started because you can figure out, okay, cool, you have this many hours. You'd say, oh, I have a 2-hour work block or a 3-hour work block. Here's what I want to get done. And it will help you prioritize too. Because I feel like a lot of the time it's like it's just so hard to make a decision with where to begin that you just end up like looking up after 2 hours and you're like, what did I even do? I feel like I didn't do anything. Or I just picked the easiest task and that's it.
Right. I mean, I've done the same thing when I had to do like I had to finish doing kind of like this mini course and then I had to also clean my house and like how can I fit all of it? Like I need to break it
Yeah.
down. I need to break down this is what I need to clean from my house and this is what I need to do for, and this is the deadline.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
though, child would take a long time, long time. So sometimes you got to prompt it little by little. Because if you do, I got 3 days, come back tomorrow. I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't I used to have that issue with it a lot. It would be trying to do way too much. Like it was trying to plan like this whole like big old launch plan and it was like, this will be ready in 24 hours. I'm like,
Yes.
no,
And
I need this
it's
now.
never ready in 24 hours.
Yeah, and then you come back in 24 hours and you're like, "Hey, where is it?" It's like, "Oh, sorry. Let me
Right.
try again." And you're like, "What?"
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, you have to be very cognizant of
It's like
that
it
because
trains you on how to use it.
yeah, yeah, it's like, "No, actually, I don't wanna do this right now, so come back in 24 hours," basically. So yeah, I haven't really experienced that in a while, but that used to happen when I first started using it. I don't know, I think it's a little bit smarter now for the most part, but yeah, it can be
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
for
did. I was like, I need it now. I need those slide decks now.
yeah, you're like, "Give it to me now. I don't need this tomorrow." Like, no, I procrastinated and I need it now because the thing is tomorrow, not don't give it to me tomorrow because I'm not gonna have any time to refine it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I had to learn to do a workaround with that. Like, okay, I kind of
Yeah.
give it bite-sized pieces, like
Yeah.
prompt it
Yeah.
to give me
Yeah.
each piece.
Sometimes if you give it too much, it gets overwhelmed and it's like, okay, cool, I'll get this to you later. And you're like, no, actually, I would like this now. Thank you. Um, I feel Claude doesn't do that as frequently. So that's good at least. But yeah, I don't know. And then it also like says like, hey, and because it knows I have two separate brands, so it'll be like, is this for this brand or that brand? Or if it kind of like can tell it's for another brand, it kind of like says like, it asks me like which brand. Like I just want to confirm it's for this brand, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say
Oh,
it. Yeah.
well, in ChatGPT, what I've done is kind of like I have different folders.
Mm-hmm, hmm. Yeah.
So, right. And so I have like a content creation, a client work folder, an email
Hmm.
reply folder. and it
Mhm.
knows like what I kind of, so in my email reply folder, I would just highlight the email and then,
Mhm.
paste it. I don't do no prompt and it'll give me back a reply message.
Yes,
Like, learn.
yes. Yeah, I do that a lot too, because that's like one thing. Because for me personally, like if someone sends me a long email and it has like multiple things, I'm like, I don't know how to
Right.
prioritize like each point. So I'm like, please help me like succinctly, because otherwise I'm like typing a novel. Because I don't know, I just get
Right.
like I go on a
Emails
tangent.
get me.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
know, I know.
Emails get me. Oof.
Yeah, same, same. So I'm like, okay, help me like make this distinct, but like succinct, so but that I'm not missing anyone's like questions or anything. But I don't want to like have like the most long like novel here, but like give me something.
Yeah,
But
like some people may send me a sentence, but I'm afraid, like I don't want to sound code. So
I know, I know, I know, I
freshen
know.
this up, Chat GPT.
Yeah, like make it sound like nice and like, not too stuffy, but also like not just like, oh, hey, thanks for
Like I
doing that.
care. Make it
Yeah,
sound
exactly.
like I care.
I don't wanna sound like a robot, but, like, because even, like, sometimes when I respond, I'm like if I'm just responding and I don't, like, run it through there, sometimes I feel like I sound rude. I'm like, "I'm not trying to be rude." It's just, like, I
Me
don't know.
too.
It's hard to just,
I
like I
same.
don't know. But then it also feels weird if you're like, "I hope this email finds you well." I don't like to say stuff like that either, so I'm like, it's like a weird balance.
I would
So
say that though. I hope this email finds you well. I mean, shoot, that's my go-to if I'm
I
typing it
usually
up.
say, like, "I hope you're having a good week so far." That's what I usually say, 'cause I don't know, 'cause I hope this
Sometimes I'm just straight to
email
the
finds you well.
point.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man.
me too, and sometimes I'm like, "Oh, that might have sounded rude," and I wasn't trying to be rude.
But because I'm
Yeah.
learning from chat, I'm learning how to like rate a little bit better on my emails, like, ooh, that's how you can frame that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, you're like, "Okay, this is helpful." Yeah, it teaches us too, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, a lot of our listeners are wanting to monetize online from digital
Mhm,
products, memberships. They want to utilize social media. So let's
mhm.
let's get a little bit kind of like a real talk on like where you're at in your business. What are you scaling? How are you scaling? What are you forecasting? Like, yeah, like what's working, what's not working, where are your pivots? Obviously, Claude was one, which
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Now you're gonna go down
into.
the rabbit hole too. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, the
yeah,
desktop thing, that's it. That's
yeah,
2,000,
that's
$3,000 right there. I was gonna buy a new
yeah.
laptop.
Yeah, no, you saved yourself money. Yeah. I mean, yeah, moving to cloud has been pretty cool. I mean, just utilizing AI in general and like getting more in depth with it, not just like prompting it, just like actually like letting it do things for me has been really mind blowing because yeah, that saves so much time. What's been working? My podcast is always working. I'm always like a podcast first marketing. Like I just find my podcast to be so wonderful for bringing in clients and things like that.
Let's go
Um,
into that. Like, how
yeah.
can we get our podcast bringing in clients or even sales? Because
Yeah.
for me, I have, Monetizing Mompreneur Society is like
Mhm.
my membership.
Yep.
And it was all about bundles and
Mhm.
virtual summits. But I'm actually now, because of who I'm coaching one-on-one,
Mhm.
I'm actually pivoting it. I'm keeping of course, all of the assets of bundles and summits because that's a great visibility plan.
Right.
But I am building a coaching business with a membership
Mm.
because there's a
Okay.
strategy behind that, right? So
Yeah.
that's where I'm actually creating a new course inside the membership and having that kind of as where I can also take my one-on-one clients through that, those items and stuff like that. So now I feel like though, okay, this is where, I want to be. So I'm trying to get some listeners and when I do my mini-sodes up in the society, like, come on, let's go
Yeah.
deeper in the society.
Right. Right. And I feel like a lot of people like have a podcast, but then, they don't always it doesn't always connect back to their offers, not because they're not trying to connect it. It's just like it doesn't come naturally or they want to sound salesy or whatever. And I feel like there's a
Right.
really like easy way to go about it. Like obviously you're not gonna be like every episode being like an ad for your your doing your society or
I
your
may
program.
do a shameless plug.
Shameless plugs are fine, but like, yeah, but you don't want like every episode being like, hey, you need to join this thing. I mean, there's ways to like subtly do it, right? I mean, I like to do like one, case study sales type focused episode per month that's going to be deeper into whatever I'm promoting at the moment. And
Okay.
it's either like with a client that is in that program, or like a one-on-one client or whatever I'm promoting at the time, or it's something that's just me, but like going deeper into like, here's what you need to know before you join XYZ program kind of thing. And it's like a little bit different, but that's not the title or anything. But that's kind of like what it is. Like, here's the kind of
Right.
the foundation step before you join XYZ program or before you work with me one-on-one or whatever. So I always like to do one sales episode per month, and then like everything else for that month. For me, I usually do solo episodes just because I feel like those are positioning me as an expert. I mean, I don't, nothing wrong with guest episodes, but I just, I like to position myself as an expert. And then in those solo episodes, it's kind of like, what do you like, what's the foundation before they go to XYZ program or join to work with me one on
Right.
one? And it's like, I have my 3 pillars. I have myth busting. So it's a myth busting type episode. Like,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, and then the sales one is one of the pillars. Like, that's only once a month. I don't like to do too many of those because we don't want like straight salesy episodes all the time. That's not fun for people. And then myth busting sales episode. And then there's like a third one. It's similar to a myth busting episode, but it's like it's educational in the way that they are, they're able to learn things from the episode, but it's like still like positioning me as an expert and like leading them towards whatever I'm promoting at the time. Um, and in every episode, I try to have just one call to action. It's usually to I have 2 different podcasts. So for my podcast that is promoting like the coaching services, I always promote my Sustainable Success Accelerator, which is like my group program, which is like the foundation before that's where they set up their business so that it's sustainable and streamlined and all that. And then I have back end offers after that. But that's always what I'm promoting in those episodes. And then for my podcast about podcasting, very meta here, I'm always promoting like either my membership or working with me one on one. So, but I'm only pointing to one thing at a time. So like, you know, maybe one call to action is like get a podcast audit or, you know, join my membership or whatever. I always point to just one thing because I feel like a lot of the time they're like, oh, I have 20 ways to work with me. And then they get the 20
Right.
ways. And like that is
Right.
obviously like overwhelming, right? They're not, because then they click
Very much.
0 things.
Decision fatigue. Decision
Yes.
fatigue.
Yes. So I feel like it's so much simpler. And always just like, I think a lot of people really rely heavily on education. And I feel like at that point, a lot of the time, then the listener starts to see you as like, oh, she teaches me a lot of things. But then they're like, well, why do I need to invest? And then there's nothing
Right.
wrong with education, but like, you want to kind of like say, here's step 1, and then like step 2, that's what we're talking about in this program or this
Well,
membership,
qualify them,
whatever.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Qualify them to working with you.
Right. You don't want to like give away everything that's inside of the program for free on your podcast episodes, even if it's like across like, you can do that, but even if it's like if it's across 300 episodes, right? Not like it's all
Right,
like
right,
this
right.
one 45-minute episode.
That's why you sprinkle in the guests.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's and getting in front of more eyes. I think that's a lot of people's problem. It's not that their content isn't good. It's not that they're not sharing about
Right.
their offers. It's just getting in front of more people. And a lot of people
Right.
think like they're gonna start a podcast and all of a sudden like it's gonna
Oh.
have this massive like audience size. And that's just really not the case for podcasting. Like it's a slower burn, I feel like, and a lot of people don't realize that. But if you really work on getting your show SEO optimized and things like that, you can grow quicker for sure. Um,
When do you think that someone should be seeing results from their podcast? As far as like clients coming in or, opt-ins, people, opting in from the podcast and things like that. When do you think?
I feel like you can start seeing it as soon as like a month or 2 after launching. But I think a lot of the time people don't like that. Their first like 12 episodes, they don't really talk about their offers or anything because they're just like trying to get their feet wet with this show.
Right.
And then they're like, well, no
Yes.
one's coming in. But I'm like, well, are you even talking about
Right.
offer? No. Well, then of course people aren't gonna be coming from the show. But I think it can happen pretty quickly, especially if you already have even a small audience to start with, which most people do because most people
Right.
aren't launching their business and their podcast on the same day. Like they're, usually 2 to 3 years into business before they decide to launch their show because they want to have like a little bit of the built-in audience beforehand. I think it can happen pretty quickly. You just need to figure out how you can get in front of more people and, make sure that your show is SEO optimized from day one. Because having to go back and like update like 300 episodes or something can be a lot. There's quick fixes that you can do like with your title and your description and things like that. Those can be updated pretty quickly and you don't have to go back to your old episodes to do that. But, if you want to optimize your whole show, you have a bunch of episodes, that might take a little bit of time to like go back and do. But I usually recommend like optimizing your title, your description, your name field, and then all your new episodes going forward, and then kind of slowly over the course of a couple months, like going through your old stuff and then doing that so it's not so overwhelming. But yeah, I think you can start seeing results and people coming almost immediately. Like I have a client who she launched back in October and she was kind of seeding up to she was launching a membership in February. So from October to February when she released her waitlist for her membership. She was seating people and like there wasn't anything at that point to do. She wasn't saying join my waitlist or anything because that would be crazy 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
But she was like sending them to like freebies she created and different things like that and getting people on her list. And, she ended up once she finally launched in February for her waitlist and stuff, she ended up getting like 40 plus members just from the podcast. And then, she got other members for that were already in her world and stuff like that. But I think really just focusing on like one offer per episode is a really, really helpful, really big deal. And also, just making sure you're talking about your offers. And you don't have to be like, oh, in my program, XYZ, we do this. But you could literally say, like, oh, one of my clients, um, I helped her do this or whatever. You don't have to be like super, it doesn't have to be like a super obvious call out about your program. It can literally just be like, oh, I helped my client XYZ do this or something like that. Or in my program, XYZ, you know, this is what my client was able to do in, 30 days or something like that. Just like little small call outs within episodes where it makes sense. And I also like to interlink old episodes that are relevant. Like, oh, if you like this episode, you'll probably like this episode number 48. It's about XYZ kind of thing. So that can be helpful too, because then they're kind of diving deeper into that one topic. Um, and yeah, I think those are kind of good ways to get people like sticking around and digging in deeper instead of just like because sometimes like when people find your show, like sometimes they'll just type in like a keyword or something and then they find one episode. But we have like the episodes interlinked and stuff, they can dig deeper and then finally like because they may listen to one episode and maybe they're not sold on subscribing yet. So, interlinking can
Yeah,
too.
I think for the longest time, like I wasn't talking about my offers, and but I was talking about in the captions, but no one reads podcast
Yeah,
captions.
yeah. You have like if you call it out on the in the audio, like yeah, they might check it out. Like if you're like, oh, I
Right.
have because what I usually like to do is I'll say like, I'm hosting a workshop or something. I'll be like blah blah blah.com/workshop. And I'll say it out loud and then I'll also leave in and then I'll also say like, oh, in case you don't want to type that out or you don't have time to type that out, it's in the show notes as well. So I'll say that, but I always call it out like
Yeah,
verbally.
you have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing? What can I get increase? And I was taking a look at like my episodes. I'm like, dang, I really don't talk about my
Yeah,
stuff
if you
that
if you just like leave it in the in the show notes, like people aren't going to look at it, especially if you're not calling it out in the episode too. Like you have to call it out in the
right.
episode and leave it in the show notes, not just
Yeah.
put it there and like hope someone looks at it, you know?
So now I decided moving forward to do ads in my
Mhm.
episodes.
Yep. And that's another great way too. I mean, all of my clients plus myself, we all have like pre-roll ads. Some of my clients have a mid-roll ad too. I don't always do it for my own because my some of my episodes are like 10 minutes long. So I'm not trying to do like a pre-roll and a mid-roll and a 10-minute long episode because that's a little much. But yeah, it can really help too because then you're not having to think about it. You're like, oh, it's just already going every single episode. And I'm not having to be like trying to be like, oh, in my program we do this. It's already
Right.
there.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
feels better too, because like you're like, it's just naturally going. You're not, because sometimes people get in their head when they're like, they have it like, oh, I need to call out this program or something. But when it's already there and already pre-recorded, you're not thinking about it. It's
Yeah.
just there. So
Yeah, that's my new strategy now when it comes to my
it helps
podcast.
a lot.
So I made
It's
like,
helpful.
it does. I did like 4 different types of ads, and I
You
told
just
my
rotate
editor,
them out.
yep, just pop
Mhm.
them in there.
Yeah, it makes a big difference because you're not thinking about it. And then you can still naturally like interject
It
like,
does. I mean, I
my
was
one-on-one
listening
client
to,
did this or whatever. Yeah.
right. I was listening. Okay, so I recently went on a podcast as a guest, and I was listening to the show, because sometimes we listen back. And she had ads. She had a lot of ads. I will say that. I'm like, she has a lot of ads. But I'm not gonna lie, subconsciously, I was like, maybe I should check out what it is she's talking about.
Right?
So I
Yeah.
mean, ads work. Yeah.
I do. I do think they work. Yeah. Sometimes like when people have way too many, it's like, I don't know about that. But yeah, I think ads definitely do work, especially if it's like, for me, if I'm hosting like an upcoming workshop or something like that's just the ad for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, and then I switch it out to something that's more evergreen. And yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen results in like, signups or something to whatever that free event is or that workshop or whatever. By having it on the podcast, and I don't even have to think about it because I'm still emailing my list about it and stuff too, but like that helps too.
Yeah.
It's like maybe the people who listen to your podcast are not on your email list and vice versa.
Yeah. So one of like the things that I'm learning when it comes to strategy and selling offers is kind of like I'm kind of taking the approach is like, what do they need to know before working with me?
Yes,
Or what do they
exactly.
need to know before coming into so I can teach about those things and then get them ready for that
Yes, yes.
action.
That's I mean, I think that's a big deal. Like that's pretty much what all my episodes are. Even though they're in the different categories, they're all like a foundational step. Like what do they need to know before they take the next step to work with me in whatever program that I'm promoting? So, like that qualifier step, because if they don't know that and they join your program, then it's like, oh no. Like then they're like they
Right.
feel like they wasted their money because they don't have that thing first. And inside the program,
Right.
you're probably not doing a kind of a recap or, a rehash of whatever that skill is that they need to know before. So yeah, I mean, I think podcast episodes like that, they're like qualifying episodes. Those are perfect because I think those kind of like really, and then at the end, then you're like, cool, you learned this. Now your next
Join
best,
to
yeah,
implement.
your next best step is joining this program or this membership or my one-on-one to actually dig deeper. And I can help you create this plan now that you know what you need to
Right.
do. Because a lot of the time too, people know what they need to do, but they need help implementing and they need help like with accountability and things like that. Like for me, that's the stage I'm at. Like I know what the heck I need to do, but sometimes I get stuck like actually going and doing the thing. So
Right.
I feel like a
Right.
lot of people
I
are in that boat.
Yeah, I gotta learn to finish what I start because I can easily be like in one thing and then I want to jump over here and do
Yeah,
this next
yeah,
thing.
I'm similar. I have squirrel brain. I'm like, I get excited and amped up about an idea, and then I like go and like get all in on this idea. I'm like, but I haven't even finished this other thing that I was already working. Like, I need to stop
Right,
doing that.
right,
Yeah.
right. Because oh, that one's hard. Because you
Yeah.
get
I mean,
excited about the other
honestly,
thing.
yeah, the shiny objects are real. And especially when you're in business, you get into these rabbit holes where you're like, oh, I really am, because you want something different. You want something new. You might be tired of like what you're currently doing. So you're like, oh, let me just find whatever shiny object and like, kind of latch onto that, which
Yeah,
it
I
can be a
mean,
great thing, but it also can be really distracting too. Cause at the end of the day, you're like, oh, great. I built this whole like new thing, which is really exciting, but like, I had actually planned to do this week, and this was actually more important because like this new thing could have been done next week or the week after that. But I really need to
yeah,
do this thing, and I did not do this thing that I needed to do.
responsibilities.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. I know.
Adulting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other day I was at one of my kids' games. She was playing softball,
Mm.
and my son is into soccer, and he was just practicing his soccer. Then he comes up to me, he's like, "Mama, I'm bored." I'm like, "Well, focus on, juggling, focus on, kicking the ball
Yeah.
hard,
A
focus
different
on,
skill. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's boring. I don't want it's the same thing, XYZ. And I'm like, sometimes in order for us to get really good and become a
We have to
master at
practice
something,
something.
you gotta practice to become great.
I
And
know.
he gave
And
me a little epiphany.
yeah, yeah. Well, and then we got to take our own advice too. Like when we tell our children that, we also got to take that too. Because I feel like sometimes too, we're constantly jumping from one thing to the next when we could be working on mastering a skill too. So definitely one of those things. It's like even in adulthood, you are still going down these rabbit holes.
Right, right. No, for sure. Okay, what one last question would be is like, okay, what do you see kind of like working as far as like from podcast? What offer do you see working really well? Is it that workshop? Because you mentioned workshop. Some people say workshop, some people say boot
Yeah,
camp, some people say
I
challenge.
I feel like for me, like when I do like a free event that seeds into a launch for a program, that has always worked best for me personally. Because I feel like if you're just launching this big program and you don't have like any sort of event leading up to it, it can be hard for people to put the two and two together and realize like that's what they need to do. So I always seed any launch of something that is like 497 plus or even 397 plus with some sort of event. That could be a summit, a boot camp, a workshop. Um, like I'm currently in a launch for one of my businesses and I did a private podcast series. I called it the Sustainable Success Reset. So they had 7 days of episodes. And then at the end of the month, I'm doing a workshop to dive deeper. And they actually get to more interaction with me face to face because it's not just like a passive private podcast series. So I always like to have some kind of launch event before I launch like a bigger program. But like if it's something smaller, like under, you know, 497, you don't need anything crazy like that. You can just say like, hey, book a podcast audit, that's only 297 or whatever. You don't need like something fancy off the jump to make people want to join that. But for me, I just have always liked doing like events if I have a bigger thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, if it's a smaller thing, then I feel like you can easily sell it off the show. Like if it's like a lower ticket membership, 97 or below, I feel like you can just talk about it in your content and you're gonna have more luck selling it than if you're trying to do like, a 997 group program and you don't have like some kind of launch vehicle off the front end of it. So
Building momentum.
mhm, mhm. And I mean, I know people who have been successful and don't have like a webinar or anything and they still sell, their 497 plus programs or whatever. But for me, I like to build that momentum. I like to be able to connect with the people who are eventually going to join my program because I'm working with them face to face. So I want to be able to like know who they are and not just be like, who the heck is this random person that just joined my program? It's nice to
Yeah.
like connect with them first. So
Oh, well, Jenny, where can people find you?
yeah, since this is a podcast, I'm gonna say my podcast is the best place to find me, and that's my favorite place to hang out online. I actually have two podcasts. I have Podcasting for Moms is my one show, and then I have Sustainable CEO Mom is my podcast that's geared towards like helping moms create businesses in 20 hours a week or less. So those are the two
Nice.
places to find me. And then you can find out all my stuff from there because I talk about it all on my show. And, you can find my website and everything there. But I like to keep people in the podcast app. So it's easier for them to do than, going to a website or something like that. So
Right, right. What made you split the brands? Because you could have easily done it in under one.
I get this question a lot. For me, I don't know. I know not everyone who is a mom with a service-based business is wanting to have a podcast. So I didn't want to like bother them with podcasting tips all the time. So
Right.
they're very similar and like I do cross promote a lot, but I just didn't want people to like feel like they were getting a ton of podcasting tips when they didn't care about that. So that's why I split them. And plus, like, I didn't want to be like, I want, like, on my podcasting show, I talk about podcasting every single week. I feel like if it was
Mm.
just one show, it would be like, I wouldn't be able to talk about podcasting every single time.
Well, thank you so much for all the information,
Yeah,
all
I
of the
know.
cool
It was like,
tips.
it was a
It was
break,
everything.
basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
I felt like a brain dump of just everything. Like it was just all across the board. But I honestly, those episodes are the best in my opinion because you get like, it's not just about like one topic. You get to kind of like talk about several different things. So,
Absolutely.
well, awesome. Thank you so much.